They lived side by side with dinosaurs 200 million years ago. These ancient plants that are still here today survived not one, but two major mass extinctions. These cliffs clearly show marks that indicate they once belonged at the bottom of the sea. These magnificent creatures put their lives on the line to find their place here. At the same time, they have all played their part in shaping one of the most unique landscapes on the planet. These gibbons shared the same ancestry as humans 16.8 million years ago. Today, there are only 37 of them left in the world, and they exist only in this part of the planet. What really transpired here? What caused so many wonders to appear in this corner of the world at the same time? In Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park, an area in Hainan Province, China, there are two peculiar yet wondrous mountains. 200 kilometers apart, they couldn't be more different. This mountain is shaped like a cone, with a series of spiky peaks piercing the rainforest skyline. While this one stands impressively with its boulder-like appearance. The erosion over the years has created a unique karst rainforest. It's rare enough to find these two very different karst rainforest landscapes anywhere in the world. But for them to appear in the same area is nothing short of an anomaly. How is it possible that a mere island can boast such different wonders? Located in an ecotone area between an Asian tropical rainforest and a monsoon subtropical evergreen broadleafed forest, Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park is a continental island type of tropical rainforest in Asia. It also transitions from one type of rainforest to another. Due to the fact that the center is high and the surroundings are low, it has a ring-shaped terrain structure, which results in Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park possessing different types of rainforests. Tropical lowland rainforests, distributed mostly below 800 meters above sea level, are rainy, humid, and hot, with rich vegetation and the most obvious tropical rainforest characteristics. Distributed in the central mountainous area of Hainan, 700 to 1,300 meters above sea level, and in the middle and partial eastern mountainous area, 850 to 1,400 meters above sea level. Tropical montane rainforests are the largest vertical natural vegetation type among the well-preserved natural forests in Hainan. As the altitude rises, epiphytic orchids, ferns, and bryophytes become luxuriant, which leads to a transition into alpine cloud forests on summits exceeding 1,300 meters above sea level. Alpine cloud forests are larger in size on Wuqi Mountain, as well as in Yingling and Baveling. With many clouds and high humidity, the plants are short and curved, the forest canopies are sparse. Epiphytic mosses and lichens cover the ground, and the trunks of the trees, and even the leaves, are also covered. The formation of these unique and diverse landscapes is forever linked with the separation of the entire island of Hainan from the mainland and its long and drawn-out evolution. One theory is that Hainan Island was originally connected to the mainland, and that the island was shaped 66 million years ago by intense geological changes that took place through two ruptures and the collapse of the Jiangsu Strait. The island gradually drifted away from the mainland and found its place in the middle of the South China Sea. It was also during this process that species were separated from each other and evolved independently, resulting in an evolutionary outcome with both continental genes and island characteristics. The barrier of the sea prevents the exchange of genes, and the isolated island form a natural barrier that is self-contained, allowing endemic species of flora and fauna to evolve. Cyathea spinellosa, more commonly known as large spiny tree fern, is one of the biggest beneficiaries. Large spiny tree fern has been around since before the Ice Age and was the plant that flourished the most on Earth in the age of dinosaurs. It was the symbol plant of the Mesozoic era. That's why it's called the living fossil. Such a relict plant can only be preserved in a place like Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park that has its own unique brand of evolution. Known as the giant panda of the plant world, Cycas revoluta is the oldest surviving seed plant on Earth. This antique of nature is still full of life. Currently, in this national park, 4,367 species of higher plants have been recorded, including 419 groups of vascular plants endemic to Hainan. There are also 651 species of wild vertebrates, including 23 groups of terrestrial vertebrates endemic to the island. New species are constantly being discovered. Dendrobium sinensis, a tropical epiphytic orchid endemic to Hainan, grows in the Montanay cloud forests. This plant species fully showcases the wisdom and art of plant evolution. Its evolution can be seen in its dynamic first step. It doesn't choose to grow on land that most plants would grow on. It actively avoids fierce competition, showing its whys to its disadvantages. And that's not all. Its pollination mechanism is as sophisticated as it is deceiving. And the target for this deception is the bee-eating wasp. Wasps are exceptionally aggressive predators. They chew up the bees they hunt, turn them into juicy meatballs, and then take them back to their nest to feed their larvae. Dendrobium sinensis utilizes the very same way that wasps raise their offspring to thrive and survive in this rainforest. Wasps prey on honeybees by detecting the alarm pheromone that bees emit in times of distress. This is the second step in Dendrobium sinensis' step-by-step program, which releases the same pheromone. A wasp has been attracted to the area. Its hunting instincts kick in and it strikes instantly. But the wasp doesn't realize that what he is violently attacking is in fact perfectly camouflaged Dendrobium sinensis flower petals. And this is the most elaborate design born out of Dendrobium sinensis' amazing evolution. Only wasps can fly onto and freely leave its flowers, as the lip of the flower is just the right size to accommodate the wasp's size. When the wasp finally realizes it's been fooled, it sheepishly retreats. But it's too late. Its chest is covered with pollen. And whether it wants to or not, it has become an unwitting tool for Dendrobium sinensis pollination. Next time, the wasp will still fall for it and attack the flowers again. After all, the urge to pursue the tantalizing scent of a bee has been ingrained in its nervous system. In other words, it's instinct. Tropical rainforests cover only 6% of the Earth's land area, but are homes to more than half of the world's species and are vital to the health of our planet. Plants provide essential oxygen and food for animals, including humans, and all animals depend directly or indirectly on plants for their survival and continued existence. In Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park, ancient trees, foliage, and forests are rich in composition and colorful in structure. Even in winter, there are thousands of miles of greenery and endless rows of trees. This undoubtedly creates a unique living space for Hainan gibbons. Hainan gibbons are members of the gibbon family. They exclusively live in Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park. They live in trees all year round, with their activities and foraging taking place in the canopies or middle layers of tall trees. They make their home in the tropical rainforest and South Asian pine forest of Bavaling, in the southwestern part of Hainan. Here, wild fruits, Ficus glaberrima, Hainan shaozai, Ficus sapisocarpa, and autumn maple trees leave Hainan gibbons spoiled for choice when it comes to their favorite foods. And these plentiful resources provide a guarantee for the continuation of the Hainan gibbon bloodline. In Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park, animals and plants have co-evolved over a long period of time, and there is a tacit understanding between them. This tacit understanding has a profound impact on the spatial distribution of plant populations and biodiversity maintenance of ecological communities. This is an unknown Greenland waiting for people to discover and explore. Here, animals and plants fiercely compete for living space. The intelligence they display to survive is often nothing short of amazing. Some plants choose to find living space in the trees, where there are a variety of ferns, lichens, and orchids, forming one of the unique landscapes of the tropical rainforest, a garden in the sky. Gardens in the sky, also known as canopy gardens, consist of epiphytes that grow mostly in forest canopies and live in areas far from the ground soil. A variety of plants, such as a bird's nest fern, are attached to tree trunks, branches, as well as evergreen fronds. In this rainforest, tens of thousands of plants and animals scramble for survival resources every second of the day. This environment has enabled the evolution of extraordinary life forms. Large spiny tree ferns prefer to grow in sunny tropical lowland rainforests in the wetlands of mountain ravines and along streams. Often, dozens of plants gather together to form a small community, with large spiny tree fern being the dominant species. It does not flower or bear fruit. It reproduces with spores hidden on the back of fronds. The spores of ferns are very different from common plant seeds. In nature, the process from germination to the formation of sporangia and spores that are lucky enough to survive can take up to a year. Up close, these meatball-like spores burst, one after another, with a mission to branch out, letting the wind carry them to wherever it may take them. Floating freely, they rely on rising air currents in the river valleys and wind to help them find a place to fertilize and continue their existence. Since the separation of the island from the mainland, limited space and resources have become increasingly scarce. But through many years of evolution, the different species here have formed a complex and diverse network of biological coexistence, which was born out of competition and separation, rivalry and mutual benefit, making this the most species-rich ecosystem in the world. While large spiny tree fern relies on self-evolution for reproduction and survival, some plants need to think outside the box to receive external assistance. The roots of this tree are not rooted in the soil, but in the carcass of another tree. By invading the host's tissues, they slowly suck up mineral elements and water to provide nutrients for their own growth. They are effectively parasites. Initially, a tree bears berries that naturally attract birds. After the birds finish feeding, they excrete their feces, which include the seeds of the plant, onto the branches of the host tree. The seeds, which are stuck to the branches, take root and grow branches and leaves of their own to photosynthesize. And through this parasitism, they carve out their own place in the rainforest. The birds that helped to sow the seeds return to feed on the flowers and fruit of this tree. After another feeding, a new life cycle begins. It's not always a case of working together to survive, however. Sometimes it's a battle that sees the winner live and the loser die. The Chinese banyan tree, with its well-developed root system, is an imposing presence. When its fruit is eaten by birds, the seeds are likewise indigestible and are excreted into the crevices of other trees. They wait and sprout as soon as conditions are right. Chinese banyan trees produce aerial roots, which grow up the trunk of the host tree and climb down to the ground, inserting themselves into the soil when they see an opportunity. They then relentlessly thicken, branch out, and weave themselves into a web. Wrapped so tightly, the host tree loses its ability to fight back and can do nothing but see all of its nutrients taken away. Eventually, due to nutritional deficiencies, the overburdened host tree resigns to the fate of disappearing into the never-ending roots of the Chinese banyan tree. Plants may seem weak, but the fierce competition for survival between them is no less intense than the fight between animals. In order to survive, the struggle for water and sunlight is a never-ending battle. Plant seeds need sunlight to germinate. But in the rainforest, only 2% of sunlight reaches the bottom. A very important step in plant evolution was taken 66 million years ago when plants, including large spiny tree fern, learned to grab more sunlight. Standing upright, large spiny tree fern is one of the few ferns in the tropical rainforest that grows into a tree. By virtue of their ability to grow taller, they are able to occupy an important ecological niche before other ferns. A world of jagged plants comes into being, nourished by the sun. However, many seeds fall at the sprouting stage because of the lack of sunlight. To win the battle to live is a desperate struggle for the plants of the rainforest. The mother tree, which usually quickly grows to more than 10 meters, is blessed with a height advantage that allows her to get more light and occupy more favorable resources. The secret of the mother tree is the art of dividing and multiplying. Once the mother tree is cut down, she quickly sprouts into more trees, hence her name. This is the secret of her enduring presence in the rainforest. The plants at the bottom of the rainforest are also fighting for light and energy to survive. They are not willing to be swallowed up by the darkness, so they have evolved with different sets of tricks. The giant taro, which is located at the bottom of the rainforest, has seen in its evolution the development of huge leaves to grab sunlight. The giant leaf plant has leaves that are large enough for a person to shelter from the rain, and of course, their size helps catch more light. This is the result of understory herbaceous plants adapting to low light in the tropical rainforest. As night falls, this red beetle emerges from the cracks in the roots of the giant taro and slowly climbs up a leaf. It's a leaf beetle that feeds on the leaves of the giant taro. And now, this beetle has decided to make this particular leaf tonight's dinner. The leaf beetle suddenly becomes very wary. It seems to have sensed the deadly threat the leaf poses to it. It acts cautiously on the leaf for a long time without making its move. The giant taro refuses to allow its leaves to become someone else's meal. Its leaves produce a large amount of toxins in the vascular bundles of its veins, which are specifically designed to deal with those looking for an easy meal. If the leaf beetle bites down on the leaf, it will be poisoned to death. Just when it's about to give up, the little red beetle starts to draw a circle on the leaf, using its body as a compass. This circle, about 3 centimeters in diameter, is about to be completed. The battle is effectively over. The leaf beetle has defeated the giant taro. The veins in the circle of the giant taro leaf have been completely severed, and the toxins in the vascular bundles can no longer be transmitted. With its ingenuity, the little beetle has eliminated the deadly threat and can enjoy its dinner without fear. After finishing its hard-earned meal, the leaf beetle triumphantly cleans its face. Over the course of their long struggle, though the leaf beetle and the giant taro have become eternal enemies, they have actually heavily influenced each other in their respective evolutions. The more astute leaf beetle has found a way to avoid the toxins to survive, while the giant taro has also developed its own defense and attack strategy to aid its survival. This is coevolution at work right before our eyes, ensuring the continuation of the two species. In the sunlight after dawn breaks, the beetle's handiwork can be seen on the leaves, creating a strange sight in the rainforest. The holes left by the leaf beetle do not pose a lethal threat to the giant taro. What's left of the leaves continue to photosynthesize without disruption. And the holes can in fact help the giant taro. They can now serve as an outlet for intense rain and wind to pass through without snapping the leaves. This story of the leaf beetle and the giant taro fighting it out for sunlight and energy at the bottom of the rainforest is just one of many stories involving all sorts of plants and animals. Animals and plants have co-evolved over long periods of time, developing an unrivaled level of complexity and creating a truly diversified rainforest. Out of 100,000 seeds, only one can take root and sprout. It is even rarer that it will grow into a big tree. Every inch of land under the sun cannot be spared, and even a centimeter of difference can be a matter of life and death. Hainan Island is blessed with its more than fair share of rainfall, and sometimes it creates a rare spectacle. Xi'an Stone Forest. Here, there is no soil. Day after day, the huge rocks get bombarded by rainwater, which has led to different shapes of rock fragments forming. The huge sword-shaped stone pillars can reach up to 20 meters. And the long-term precipitation has greatly eroded the stone forest. Viewed from a distance, it looks highly dense. The multiple layers of mountains and ravines are the result of millions of years of rain crashing down onto rocks. The area was once covered by a huge sandstone strata, and through being constantly washed by rainwater, it has formed one of the rare tropical karst and stone forest landscapes in China. These limestone hilltops were originally formed at the bottom of the sea, and rain gradually shaped the stone forest here into what it is today. With its near vertical cliffs, the area has largely escaped the ravages of human activity. Covered with spiky shards of rock, it has always been difficult to navigate. And the flora and fauna at the top of the mountains are isolated from the rest of the world, while at the same time continuing to evolve on their own on this isolated island, which is still a piece of uncharted territory. Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park is not only an important water conservation reservoir, but also the birthplace of Hainan Island's major rivers. It's the source of life for the entire island. It plays a role in water conservation, climate regulation, and the maintenance of ecological balance. It creates an environment for the plants and animals to live in the tropical rainforests. So how do the animals use the rare stagnant water in the tree holes to reproduce and survive? Here, a tree is a world, and a tree hollow is a home. Because tree hollows can easily collect water and make it hard for water to evaporate, they have become places where all kinds of creatures congregate. Mossy frogs live their entire lives in stagnant water formed in tree hollows. March is the time of year when they lay their eggs. The moist inner walls of the tree hollow are hung with mossy frog follicles. Their soon-to-be father is quietly guarding as he waits for them to develop and mature. The mossy frog lays only a few dozen eggs in a clutch, which is an extremely low egg production rate for a frog. These few follicles are in constant danger of being devoured by other creatures in the hollow. Mossy frogs have always been scarce in numbers. Reproducing offspring is a harsh test for them. As night falls, the other animals in this small world come to life. White claws lightning crabs, which hunt at night, are out in force. The mossy frog, sensitive to the threat close at hand, immediately camouflages himself by turning his body into the color of the tree bark. The details are perfected down to the moss on the bark. He doesn't dare move a muscle for fear of startling the white claws lightning crab. The mossy frog knows full well that it is the follicles attached to the tree hollow that are in greater danger. And at this very moment, the white claws lightning crab is crawling towards the tree hollow. Danger is imminent. At the last moment, they fall into the water. The lucky young lives inside will never know how close they were to never seeing the light of day. It may look serene here, but there are predators everywhere. The same kind of danger is being played out on this tree at almost any given moment. Hainan Tropical Forest National Park is the part of the island with the most resources. But it is also the area with the most violent climate. A huge Maduka hainanensis tree has fallen. disaster for the tree, but for this localized area of the rainforest, it's the beginning of a new cycle. This is known in forest ecology as the formation of forest gaps. Gap formation facilitates the rapid decomposition of dead plants by microorganisms and soil fauna, and the return of mineral nutrients that had collected in the old tree to the soil. Without these microbes in soil, dead animals and plants would pile up. In some rainforests, the number of fungi species is 33 times greater than that of plants, sometimes even more. Many fungi spread by means of spores, and they eject up to 30,000 spores per second. If one spore finds a suitable place to land, it can cover a new area. Fungi and slime molds compete to break down dead leaves and branches on the jungle floor, which in turn provides nutrients for new plants. In the rainforest, life and death is an endless cycle. The sustained healthy environment on the entire Hainan Island is a result of this. Biodiversity resources are the basis for the development of human society. And the richer the biodiversity, the safer all life will be. The fruits of the rainforest are always ripening, and the Hainan gibbon rarely worries about food. They digest and absorb the nutrients after swallowing the fruit, but the seeds remain intact, which are excreted along with the feces. Hainan gibbons travel dozens of kilometers a day in search of fruit. They travel quickly from tree to tree at speeds of up to 36 kilometers per hour. And the seeds of the Ficus auriculata, more commonly known as the Roxburgh fig tree, are thus taken far from the parent tree to grow, making the Hainan gibbon a seed disperser. In the rainforest, animals and plants work together in such a way that they always mirror each other. And they gradually become one, dependent on each other to survive. Hainan's tropical rainforests are superb carbon reservoirs that maintain the health of this island. From the moment a tree begins to grow, it absorbs atmospheric carbon dioxide through the process of photosynthesis. The larger the tree, the more carbon it stores. Trees in tropical rainforests have different rates of carbon content in various parts of them. Whether it's the trunk, leaves, or roots, carbon makes up almost half of a tree. This block of Maduka pesky wood is rotting due to the actions of fungi, while at the same time, it is providing nutrients for new plants. In death comes life. Another carbon cycle is in the process of being completed. It is these stories of cycles in life in nature that created these diverse and healthy tropical rainforests in Hainan. At the same time, the health of the rainforests provides a better environment for the creatures that live in them. The latest data shows that the Hainan gibbon population has recovered to 37 from 7 to 9 in the 1980s. As a typical umbrella species of Hainan's tropical rainforests, their protection sees many other species in the habitat being protected too. Heritiera parvifolia, a rare tree species in Hainan, is one of the signature species of the tropical lowland rainforest. Like Vatica mangachapoi and Hopia hainanensis, Heritiera parvifolia's fruit is a samura, also known as winged fruit. It's woody, with a thick, corky, fibrous layer of fruit wings, and it floats on water, letting the current take it further afield to reproduce. Old stems bearing flowers and fruit is one of the special phenomena of the tropical rainforest. Bunches of fruit are borne on the trunks of trees. The canopies are too dense in the rainforest, and pollinators are mainly active at a certain height range under the canopies. So the old stems bearing flowers and fruit have the easiest access to pollination opportunities. Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park is an integral part of the world's rainforests. It boasts the most concentrated, the best preserved, the most diverse, and the largest contiguous tropical rainforests in China. It's the perfect representative of island rainforests. The establishment of Hainan Tropical Rainforest National Park provides shelter for the vast majority of Hainan's rare and endangered plants and animals. With our help, their continued existence not only benefits them, but also preserves a better world for us.